Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome to the last question mark challenge here today for the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix. And today we take on this challenge with Alexander Albon in his brand new Red Bull Racing Honda car. Yes, of course, before the end of the summer break, we got the news that Albon will be promoted to Red Bull and Gasly down to Toro Rosso, demoted for the rest of the 2019 season. So I thought, how fitting we have to do this challenge with the new man in his new car, Albon in Red Bull. Also very fitting because I think the case is sort of what I saw earlier in the race weekend, that Albon, along with some other people, will be taking grid penalties. Albon specifically because of a new Honda spec engine, actually. So the engine might be better, but because he has to take the new spec, he has to take an engine penalty because of that for this race weekend. So maybe quite fitting, as he might be not stone dead last, but towards the back end at least, depending on who else has grid penalties and what order they took them in. But he might be towards the back end for the grid on Sunday. But this video being uploaded after Saturday's qualifying session, but of course ahead of Sunday's race. So let me know what you guys made of qualifying, and let me know your predictions for the race tomorrow and Sunday, and let's see if I can do any kind of wizardry in this challenge to see where Albon might come, and I might be able to predict his position or the race winner's prediction correctly, or I might jinx it. You never know, could go either way. Definitely has been the case in this challenge as we've done it over the years here. But obviously if you're new around here, we're going to do a 25% race, so it's a short and sweet challenge, so it means we can't kind of faff around with overtakes. Here at Spa, going to have to use the OP slipstream we know the game is capable of to try and make these overtakes happen as quickly as they can and try and get ourselves up into some comfortable points. Obviously, Albon is no stranger to doing comeback drives. He did it at China when he started from the pit lane and he got points. So let's see what we do from last place here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Hopefully some high-end points, you would say, in the Red Bull car. But of course, the Ferrari and Mercedes looking very strong this race weekend, especially the Ferrari cars. But let's just get into this then. It's going to be a one-stop, of course, and a 25% race from the soft tyre to the mediums. So here we are then, P20 on the grid in Albon's Red Bull car as we go to 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. And this challenge today, fire lights are out and we're underway. It's an okay start for us there. We're going to get boxed in though, unfortunately, with the two Williams of Russell and Kubica there into turn one. So just kind of feathering the throttle and trying to see where we have some space. Really, none is in existence basically on the left-hand side as we go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo racing car and try to get up into P18 to P17 as we go towards Rouge there. Maybe can move to the inside, and it's going to be a very close one. They're having to lift off and give the Williams some space. We're up into P17. Next up is actually going to be quite awkwardly Pierre Gasly in his new Toro Rosso, demoted to Toro Rosso now for the rest of the season, and so we have to try and make a diving move on the outside and maybe catch him napping, as well as that Haas car as we go around the outside then of him and the Haas, as there's a whole gaggle of cars fighting away. And now we've got Kvyat, this second Toro Rosso, our old teammate from Toro Rosso, just one race ago at the Hungarian Grand Prix to contend with, but he's unfortunately actually defended quite well there, and is actually looking to attack the McLaren rather than defending against me. But now here we come. Now you can see the difference in the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso straight away, right on the back of the gearbox of Kvyat, but unable to make a move yet, and he's actually placing his car really well, and I'm unable to get him in a straight line. Of course, Honda v Honda power, so it's quite equally matched here, but you can see in the corners I have the downforce, but down the inside of Poo on there, it's very, very close margins there, and Kvyat, there's no love lost there between us two then, and so he's giving me a real fight there, maybe holding a little bit of a grudge by not being promoted to Red Bull versus myself in this car now, as he's really giving me a great fight. This is crazy, going on for about now a whole sector or more there with Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso. Round the outside we go though, and finally up into P14, but what a fight back he gave us there. I really wasn't expecting that from the Toro Rosso. So we now move on towards lap number 2, then the end of that lap onto the new one, and we're going to make a massive dive on the McLaren there, down into Lando Norris there, catch him napping and flustered a little bit with a lock-up on the front right, that is as well. And so we're up into P13 there, using obviously the good braking force we know the Red Bull has to try and make these moves if we can't do it in a straight line here, because we might be lacking some straight line still with the Honda power unit, and also the setup I'm running is it's got quite a lot of high downforce. I've compromised a little bit with lower wings than I usually would run, but still the car's not looking too tasty in a straight line, so having to use the kind of chassis and I guess the aero to much better use in the corners and under braking to try and make some of these moves. And that's something of course Albon might need to contend with also in real life, trying to get used to the Red Bull and trying to find the limits of where he can push that car compared to his Toro Rosso. And so he's been doing well so far in the race weekend in terms of FP1, FP2 is pretty good in terms of the time gaps to Verstappen. But here we go now, back to our fight down the inside of Ricky Bobby there to the inside of the Australian. He gave us a real squeeze on the left-hand side there, so I was having none of it, and gave him a good squeeze back there on the next left-hander, and to we're up into P12. So only 2 places off then, the points paying positions on lap 2 only. So I would say it's been an okay progress for last to question mark so far. We have definitely been further up the order after lap 1 in a few other attempts, but this, like I said, this circuit is quite challenging, especially with the Red Bull car. But here we go now, down the inside. Oh, Grosjean there tried to make the outside of Blanchimont overtake were, but just didn't work out for me there. Didn't want to give me any room to go around the outside of Blanchimont, so we had to just try and do it in the bus stop chicane instead. But now we close up on the Racing Point car. It's me another massive dive on the brakes there. The Red Bull car is just so nice on the brakes, especially to turn one here at Spa. I don't know what it is about this this special circuit and that corner per se. Obviously, it's quite a wide one, so it allows you to kind of go a little bit deep maybe and try and squeeze some out. So it works out, and we're now up into P10 in the points paying positions on lap number 3. So good progress. I think we should be on to at least get up into the top 6 and get into that region where the Red Bull should be operating. But we're now close up on a massive fight. This is between the Alfa Romeo of Raikkonen, I believe, holding up then a train of Racing Point, McLaren and Renault here. So can we make a move on one of these guys on the outside, perhaps on the next right hand door to the inside? Maybe as we try and switch to the inside, but we go back to the left hand side and go on the outside then of Hulkenberg, then trying to feed the throttle through, and also maybe have a little look at Carlos Sainz there, but not going to make it through. Just going to finish off the move on Hulkenberg instead. I'm going to have to wait patiently for the next back straight then on Sainz as we go and run towards the bus stop chicane. This long twisting straight as we go through. Bit of contact maybe. Carlos Sainz gets the elbows out there, so the Spaniard not wanting to give up the position, but here we go now to the inside of Blanchimont. Lift off a little bit there, give him the room, squeeze him out though as well, and at the same time the Racing Point car goes for a move on Raikkonen, and he's going to be caught here. To the inside we go, and it's a wonderful little pass there for a double move essentially in the same sector on the McLaren and Racing Point there. I think the Racing Point car was so focused on Raikkonen and just got caught up so much with moving left to try and make that move that ultimately didn't work out for him. He slowed himself up so much mid-apex in the chicane. So now we're up into P7, and so we're already on the back of that P6 then, that region where the Red Bull car should at least minimum be, that Gasly position basically, where Gasly always was in the Red Bull basically when he was in the car pre-Belgian basis. So here we go now, opening up DRS. Should be a very easy move in a straight line. The Alfa Romeo car sparks away, but it's an easy pass for us on the right-hand side. Cut back to the racing line, cut across, dive a little bit late on the brakes, so a little bit frosty there as we go through the next corners. The rear end steps out, but we make it work, and we're up into P6. And now we try and chase after Max Verstappen and use the clean air as best we can as we move on to the end of lap number 6. Then we have been catching Verstappen at a decent rate here as his tyres start to go off somewhat here, but we're going to come in at the end of this lap for a pit stop here onto a set of medium tyres. Verstappen will continue on, so the undercut hopefully should be a thing we can get away with. Obviously in real life you'd probably say Verstappen would be the one pitting right about now if he was struggling on the tyres, but alas, I've got the more senior call with the game and the mechanics we got for the pit stops, so we're going to be in for a set of mediums, and as well as myself is going to have a Mercedes and a Ferrari in as well. Can't tell which one. I think it's I want to say it's Hamilton and Vettel, I believe, but we'll see. It is definitely Vettel's Ferrari. I think that is Hamilton in the Mercedes he's in. Yeah, it is. I can tell by the helmet there. So Hamilton and Vettel in with myself, and so that leaves Bottas and Leclerc and Verstappen out there. So we're going to come out just in between some cars, and it's going to be another awkward moment here where once again find ourselves behind Pierre Gasly then in the Toro Rosso. So this will probably definitely happen in real life. It will be just as awkward in real life, but here we go now, making a move on Pierre Gasly on the left hand side, and he's going to squeeze us quite a fair bit, and there's a little bit of jockeying for position there, and we go powering past Gasly in his brand new or old familiar home of the Toro Rosso car as he goes side by side with the Alfa Romeo, trying to maintain that position at least on the Alfa, and he does so actually behind me, but we're going to continue on and push on there as we dance the car through the next right-hander and close up to the McLaren then once more. Little lock up on the front right, doesn't worry us too much there. Of course, new tyres, so it's not going to bother us too much at this first part of this stint. We're going to swing through on the left and get a massive exit there, and so we have a great run to try and overtake Lando Norris to the inside of Pool on there. Use some overtake mode on the ERS momentarily to hot lap mode as well. Lift off there in 6th gear and just about get the car through on the black stuff and keep it in the white lines. We're up into P9 then, and so now we can try and focus on that fight between Hamilton and Vettel and try and close up. We definitely are closing up, and we should be able to jump Verstappen here because definitely we weren't this close to the Mercedes car pre-pit stop. So here we go now on the exit of turn 1. There we are ahead of Verstappen up into P5 now, and now you can see, look at that, the top 4, 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercs, so close together. Vettel leads the 2 Mercs and then Leclerc in P4. But here goes Valtteri Bottas then, who's slotted in behind in P2 after his pit stop there on cold tyres though. Goes to the right hand side. It's going to be maybe nearly 3 wide as Hamilton goes through. It's a 1-2 for Merc, but Hamilton dives down the inside of Bottas in this. Oh, it's contact! Massive contact between Hamilton and Vettel there. Carbon fibre flies. It's a broken front wing for both Ferrari cars and Hamilton, I think that is. And so Hamilton literally swung across the circuit there, nearly T-boned Vettel completely there. And so we're up into P3 now. I was going to say nearly, because those four are fighting so hard, maybe I can catch one of them napping, but I've caught 2 of them now because they're all basically actually just tripped over one another. So we go down the inside then of the Merc of Bottas then. And so now it's only just myself and Hamilton in P1 and P2. So could we do this? Could we do the unthinkable and get P1 in the Red Bull for Albon from last place on the grid? I mean, it's possible now because Hamilton has damage on his front wing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, I think all 4 of them have damage of some sort, or at least Hamilton, the 2 Ferraris do. But we got Bottas there, very slow to pull on. So here we go now on the left-hand side, overtake mode, rich mix. We're going to have to save some fuel now because we're into negative fuel on the heads-up display, and also save some ERS because we're very, very low on the ERS bar. But we've done it. We're up into P1, and we lead the Belgian Grand Prix from last place this was at the start of the Grand Prix with Albon. But we now move on to lap number 9. Hamilton goes for a move there with DRS. We go very defensive. All we can do is try and outbrake Hamilton because we don't have enough fuel or ERS to try and outspeed him in a straight there with the DRS activated for him as well. But we do enough, and obviously we know how good the brakes are on the Red Bull car as we now move on to lap number 10, second last lap of the Grand Prix. I think that's Vettel going for a move on Hamilton, nearly side by side through Rouge, up the hill now to the Kemmel straight, and Hamilton will come knocking once again with DRS. I'm sure he'll use ERS as well. We don't have too much to use. We're in overtake mode, but a standard mixture only there. We box out the Ferrari car, and under braking once again, although we're second place, we try and outbrake Hamilton and get back up into P1 to that inside line, squeeze him out through the next left-hander, and we're able to maintain that P1. I'm going to bring it home onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. Through the last 2 corners, we have actually done it from last place to first. It's a rarity we get last to first in these challenges these days with how good the AI are, but we've done it today, and we've done it with Alexander Albon in the Red Bull racing car. Absolutely insane. I can safely say that is not what is going to happen in tomorrow's Grand Prix. I mean, maybe I've just wizarded it right now. I've just jinxed it or something. Either way, but I don't think that's going to happen. But you know, obviously Verstappen's won a race in his first race for Red Bull at the Spanish Grand Prix, so you never know. Never say never in F1, but that has been an absolutely insane challenge. I can't believe that. I can't believe those 4 just tripped over each other so badly. The fact that I got into P1, Verstappen got P3, and so that is a beautiful sight seeing the Red Bull 1-3 there, but Albon's 23 number Red Bull in P1. Crazy scenes there. Guys, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you aren't around here to subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content, I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.